I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And this is the Digital President Podcast.
We've cracked the code for generating customers online for every business model.
In fact, we wrote the book on it.
We've built multiple multi-million-dollar businesses in as little as 90 days. And the one truth that we discovered is
the best business model is doing what you love and living your life by strategy.
You truly can follow your passion and create the life of your dreams,
as long as you have the right strategy.
If you're a real estate agent and you'd like to learn how you can partner with us to help you implement our strategies and systems in your business so you can make a lot more money and have a lot more time freedom, all without ever paying us a penny or giving up a percentage of your commission, go to partnershipdetails.com and schedule a call with us today. While it's fresh in your mind, go to partnershipdetails.com. Now on to the podcast.
All right, welcome everybody to the Digital President Podcast, episode number 28. I'm Michael Reese.
And I'm Woods Davis.
And today we're going to be diving deep into a really good topic. You know, a lot of the topics that we come up with, I think they're so meaningful because, guys, listen, we're actively talking to hundreds of agents privately every single month, and we get the unique opportunity to look under the hood and look at their business. And again, every agent has a different set of problems, whether it's a team, an independent broker, or a brand new agent. And we listen. And today, you know, sometimes when we give the prescription to the problem, it gives us really great ideas. And I think there's an important principle, because one common denominator that we've come up with is that, you know, there's a cohort of really two agents that we like to help, you know, really that we're best at helping. And really putting our finger on the pulse of it is one of those groups of agents are people that simply just want to do more production. That's it. They just want to produce more. You know, we've referred to it a lot as double your business. You know, whether you're doing 8 deals, 10 deals, 20 deals, 100 deals, if you want to double your business, you know, that really resonates with you. But when you want to double your business, you really want to just increase production. And so today we're going to talk to anybody out there who wants to increase their production, and specifically talking about, you know, the next 12 months. And so we have a concept, you know, we've really coined it. We've used it really from day one, and it's a metaphor. Call it a mental model, if you will. But in your business, you really want to be drilling oil wells. You want to drill oil wells in your business. I'm going to let you take this first part, Woods Davis. You know, I think what we really need to do is unpack the concept of why we refer to it as oil wells and what's it mean. Really try to get this to hit home for people, because I think it's an amazing concept. I think it's really the magic of execution.
Well, I'll share kind of some of my thoughts, and I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts about it too. When I think about drilling an oil well, and one of the things that we talk about is like you have to find kind of a tip of spear strategy. You have to find one strategy where you can go into the marketplace and generate clients and strike oil, if you will, right? It's kind of like you're going out into the field and you're finding, oh, this is a good spot. We actually started to dig here and we found some oil, you know? So for us, that's usually going to be focusing on some type of niche, some type of problem that you can solve in the marketplace, or some type of desire that you can feel, some type of client that you can help based on, you know, your unique ability, or even just based on what you want, the types of clients that you want to work with. And so, you know, it's about kind of picking a starting point. We got to go out into the field and say, you know what, I'm going to start digging right here and see if I can start to strike some oil. And so I think that that's where it starts, is getting clear on, you know, what type of client you want to go after, and then starting to dig and actually build a process, build a marketing system, a marketing funnel, and a sales process to attract those types of clients, and then add as much value to those types of clients as possible in order to be able to convert them and be able to, you know, strike the oil, right, if you will. But I don't think it really stops there. But that's kind of the beginning part. I mean, what are your thoughts, Michael, as far as like identifying where you're going to start drilling?
So I think where you start drilling is a great concept. I'm glad you started with it. I really look at it just in a real world practicality of me having a call with someone else. And, you know, I want to explain the problem first. You know, the problem is that most people are trying to get multiple clients at the same time. And so the real mental model is really leveraging the principle of focus. So when you drill an oil well, you're not out trying to find 10 wells. That would be, let's find one and let's get one up and running. Let's focus our energy right on this one thing. Because let me give you a fact about drilling an oil well. Is that when you drill an oil well, depending on how deep you're going to drill, there's different layers in the earth. The beginning, it's very easy. Sometimes you need a certain drill bit depending on where you're drilling. Let's say there could be hard clay, rock, stuff you have to drill through. And, it would make sense to make sure that when you're drilling, that you're drilling in a place that you have all the equipment for. And so the very act of drilling an oil well is, to me, it's a really good metaphor, making sure that, like you said, that you're finding the right spot. But most importantly, it's supposed to make you think of, the focus that, that you're going to hit different obstacles in the process. You're going to need different tools that are required, but you're committed because the oil is there. I think what happens, Woods, is that, from what I see, is that right now I had an amazing call with an amazing individual. And, this individual had multiple strategies trying to go at the same time. And I mean, literally has made zero progress. And That's equivalent to trying to do 10 things when it's really easier to do one thing 10,000 times better than 10 things. So a lot of the times I think when I'm thinking about an oil well, I'm doing all of the homework up front because I know the level of effort that it's going to take and the time that's going to be required in order to continue to drill. Now, I'm not saying to continue to drill the hole if it's in the wrong spot. So you have to have assumptions. You have to have assumptions of how long it's going to take, what the time, energy, and resources are going to be. But for me, you nailed it when you said pick that client. Picking the client is actually picking the place that you're going to drill. And so with this individual, specifically, great person, they had shared with me that they had hired 3 coaches. Because I was trying to be a really good listener, I didn't respond to that comment, but it did resonate with me. And again, there's so much discussion around focus and multitasking. I think what I'm referring to is this isn't about this. This is really simply project management, right? Most agents are limited to the resources, and a lot of the time it's them. And so you can't dilute your resources and focus based upon the problem at hand if you're trying to solve 3 different problems. And so to give you an example, with an expired listing postcard, one of the biggest breakthroughs that I had in my process was originally I was doing envelopes. I was doing envelopes with a handwritten envelope. And I did that for years and it worked. And I did 4 letters and it was 1 a week for the first 4 weeks. Well, the iteration on that ended up becoming postcards because, I went on appointments and I got expired listings. And I realized that there were a lot of envelopes that didn't get opened, not because of just mine. I mean, the consumer would give me all of the stuff that was mailed to them. And what I would do is as I would go and sort through that, I'd see these jumbo postcards every once in a while. And they were bigger than all of the envelopes. They were the easiest to find if you were going to sort because of their size. They were full color. The message was there. And so I decided, in drilling an oil well, and this is really probably the core of my breakthrough in real estate, was at that time, there was no such thing of any agent, to my awareness at the time, using a predictive or an auto dialer. I found an auto dialer that later ended up becoming very popular in our community called Mojo, but I found it through an insurance guy I used who told me how they were working. So, took that concept from Jay Abraham, went outside my industry and asked myself, how are other people accomplishing this goal? So, a lot of the times on those envelopes and stuff, when I would look at doing the competitive research, Woods, I would look at their messaging. So I'd layer stuff into my messaging that would make it more compelling, because there was a lot of times that people were kind of doing an iteration of what I was offering. And so I had to make it better, which, I did that by making additional offers. I had to, at some point, back in, and this is a long time ago when QR codes first came out, I would add QR codes, which I would never send anything to direct mail today without a QR code. A lot of people were taking people, when I would go to the website, they were taking them to their main website with a bunch of different, capabilities. And, I started taking them to singular, singular pages that were dedicated where there was testimonials and proof with clear calls to actions based upon the lead source. And so what I mean by drilling an oil well is that right now, with this individual that I was talking to, all of her ideas and all of her coaches' ideas would work. The problem is that for her specifically is that she probably jumped into a specific thing being motivated, excited, and then that motivation wore off when you had to put on overalls and get out there and start digging. And so, at the end of the day, this particular individual referred to cold prospecting, cold leads as what I would refer to as warm leads. Right. And so they had described the same thing that other clients of mine have had tremendous success on. They were describing in their situation that they weren't successful. And the truth be told is I think they had generated like 60 leads total. And there were so many things that they had not done that I could see how back in the oil drilling days, people, if they didn't have the right mindset or the right team or specifically the right experiences, they could easily run into any type of friction and easily decide to change their strategy by changing their location when in fact they were just off. And so I think that becomes from the difference between believing something works and knowing something works. When you believe you can get clients online, when you believe that you can leverage a marketing and sales funnel, then the difference is, and especially like someone drilling in a place where there's, you can see oil rigs all around, oil's down there. When you hit bedrock, you don't say, well, I don't think oil's there. You say, hey, we're at bedrock. We need to pull out a new tool. And that's what you have to do with marketing and sales funnels. And so because you might have to change the ad creative, you might have to add the testimonial to the landing page. Maybe you're asking for phone number, name, and email. Maybe you have to lower the barrier of entry in order to generate the lead. There's all sorts of things that you can do. You can implement a tripwire. All of those factors are things that you have to consider when you're trying to nail a marketing and sales funnel. And the reason we want you to drill an oil well, because it's the process that you go through in getting something to work that changes your mindset from believing to knowing. And once you have that, it's so liberating because now you look at all of the land that you could be taking advantage of, and you really start nailing your systems and processes for following up with the leads, converting the leads, nurturing the leads, because your problem is no longer generating the leads. The once you really hit oil, if you will, and you're generating leads, which is really said differently, homeowners that have given you their information and agreed for you to communicate with them based upon their desired, whether that's buying or selling. Once you've kind of created that, and then it goes back to the digital president, book, if you will, which is, segmenting those people and putting them into campaigns that are necessary, whether that's putting them on your broadcast list, whether that's putting them on a next action date, which is, permission-based marketing or agreed upon phone call, putting all those systems, that sales process, if you will, Woods. So nailing your marketing and sales process is going to be extremely hard to do because everything you say on the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the follow-up, is going to be way more valuable, and the conversion is going to increase if, let's say, somebody comes in and there's a 12-day, every other day follow-up email that sends out a testimonial. If that testimonial says you sold their home and you're trying to help somebody sell their home in a neighborhood, or more importantly, let's say it's an expired, using that scenario, then the headline could be, how I listed my home with 3 different realtors for, 512 days and didn't sell, and ended up getting 3 offers in 21 days and sold for XYZ. Like, you can now really start getting specific with those campaigns, which is going to help you pull those clients through.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I think it's a lot easier to strike the oil. I think one of the biggest challenges people have is really continuing to dig and refine the oil and actually get it to market, meaning they're able to generate leads. Okay. I think there's a million different ways to start generating leads. And one of the most common things that you'll hear, probably the biggest frustration of team leaders or successful people who have built and become successful in real estate and then started to bring on other agents, whether that's on their team or that's on their brokerage, is that the same leads that I used to be wildly successful with, other agents complain that now the leads suck, right? what's the difference, right? What is the difference? And I feel like most agents, where their biggest struggle comes is in the process after generating the lead, which is like drilling to strike oil. I mean, you might dig down just, 10 feet to actually discover that it's there, but you really need to go and dig down 100 feet to really hit the big payday. And so like, I think one of the biggest challenges that people have is the system for delivering value to those leads and being able to follow up with them in a way that's going to compel them to want to take action and want to do business with you. And the reason why I say delivering value is because I feel like fundamentally people have the wrong mindset when it comes into, going into the whole process of working with clients. I feel as though rather than thinking about, how can I add the most value to these people so it becomes almost the default that they're going to want to do business with me because I've added so much value to them. Instead, they're thinking about tactically, what is the proven, automated drip system that I can put them on to do as little work as possible to, get the biggest, conversion out of them. Right. And the reality is I'll just be frank and kind of get to the point. I believe that if you are going to drill an oil well, if you're going to do lead generation at scale and you're going to really get to the value, you've got to add content and value into your sales process, your follow-up process after you generate the lead. And I believe that that's more important than just generating the lead on the front end. We've discovered it in our own businesses. And what happens is you start to make this shift where you go from just this conversion-based business, and it's just you're only converting maybe the 1 or 2% of people that are ready to do business right now. And you just live month to month to month to month, like generating more leads and just getting the little 1% or 2% that are ready to go right now. And always feeling like you're always just on the transaction treadmill, searching for your next deal, versus building some assets and building some content and building some system that will actually add value to all these people, which will over time convert more. And ultimately too, people don't do it, I think, because they feel like they don't have the time. They feel like they don't have the time to shoot a video. They feel like they don't have time to put it on a YouTube channel. They feel like they don't have the time to figure it out and email their database the value. But the reality is like, once you do that, it saves you time. And I'm going to give one example, and I would like to get your feedback, Michael, as far as what you see around content being such an important pillar here. So one example that I'd like to give, and I tell this story a lot. It's the tale of two agents. So we partner with agents, okay? And when we partner with agents, one of the things that we do is we get on a call with them, we lay out their goals, and we help them get clear on a good strategy. If they don't have a tip of spear, if they don't have an oil well built, they don't have consistent, predictable lead generation installed, we help them identify what would be the best niche based on their market, whether it's waterfront condos and Naples, Florida, or whether it's, acre plus properties in, Denver, Colorado, right? So we help them get clear on that. And then we actually help them install the funnel, install the follow-up systems and all the things. But here's what I always tell people, like, we can help your phone ring within 48 hours. We can help you generate as many leads as possible. Here's what we can't do. We can't follow up with them and have the conversations with them, but we can train you on how to do that. And we can't shoot your videos for you. And I have two agents. So started on the same day. We did the calls on the same day. One agent, same exact funnel, same exact budget. Two different markets. One was in Florida, one was in California. The ones that were in California actually were at a disadvantage because they moved from Oregon to California and so they're in a brand new market. They don't know a single person. Okay. So the agent in Florida averages 1% conversion over a 6-month period, meaning they closed. I pulled up their pipeline and verified this yesterday. They had closed 6 transactions and they had 2 people that they were showing. That was what was in the pipeline. Okay. So that was the first scenario. That person is a great agent. They're a good person. They follow up and they do their job. But this person, bless their heart, is never, ever going to shoot a video and is never, ever going to build a comprehensive system that's going to add value and ultimately give her more freedom and actually get way more conversion than what she's doing. She's always going to be what we call as a time teller versus a clock builder. Okay, gave her the strategy on the videos to shoot, gave her exactly what to do. She just unfortunately has some limiting beliefs and will not do that. However, she's still in her mind being successful because she's consistently now got a pillar that at least produces 1 deal a month. And I think she has like a $10 a day budget, right? So phenomenal. So now let's look at the agents in California. Same exact funnel, same exact budget, $10 a day. They've closed 10 transactions in that same 6-month period and have 7 under contract. I don't know how many they have showing and in the pipe to convert, but almost triple the conversion of the first agent. The only difference is that they did exactly what we told them to do in terms of shooting, the videos. And now every new lead that comes in, not only in addition do they deliver what we promise on the front end to attract the lead, but they also invite them to check out their buyer's favorite home tour of all of these videos that they've shot that are related to what the lead was looking for in the first place. And now so every time they generate a new lead, there's a system in place there where the lead is actually spending time with them on their YouTube channel, consuming these videos, watching videos. And they're so dang excited now because now they literally have a system in place. And they when we saw them in person, they ran up, gave us a hug. They were able to buy a house. It was just a great experience. But they're saying, man, we're doing business with doctors and all these people, they know us. Remember, they moved to a market where they didn't know a single person, right? But that's the power of literally not stopping short just because you strike some oil and you can go, just because you can generate some leads and you can go convert 1%, right? How about we convert 4%, 5%? And how about we do it in a way that's way more fun and way more systematic because we built the system. We recorded some videos that actually add value to people as they come in. And now, again, that's just more of a full process, taking it from start to finish. It's like they drilled all the way down through the bedrock, got to the big oil reserve, and now it's a machine that's just pumping. So in my mind, I honestly feel as though, just getting right down to the tactic, man, I feel like the content on the back end to add value to people is just the most important thing. And that mindset around being man, how can I add the most value to these people rather than just how can I convert them is one of the most important things. And Michael, I'd love to get your opinion on what you think.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that, kind of going back to the beginning of the conversation, I mean, with the people that I'm talking to, that's not the problem. I definitely know that everybody should be the digital president, right? And produce content. But the problem is that most people don't get to the oil. And, what I'd like to start with is, and the reason I say this, and I didn't want to interrupt you because I felt like you were kind of in full stride, but I have a hard time knowing when to chime in, right? And the reason why is because I know people that are listening to this. Listen, the guy that's going to go out there and be willing to produce content is the same guy that's going to get leads and say, what do I need to do next? But that person is probably not listening to this podcast. And if they are, they're going to go produce content because they're going to be like, got it. They're an action taker. The truth is that, if you look at the 100 people that we try to help and the 20 or the 80 or the 60 people that struggle, they never even get to oil. Right. And so, the concept of, okay, now you're generating as many leads as you want. Most people, just for fairness, would be like,
I'd like to have that problem.
They would be happy. And yesterday I talked to Paul, I know that you helped Paul. And Paul and his wife, new wife, Valerie, we did their announcement. And Paul told me before the call, he said, Mike, I generated more leads already since I partnered with you guys than I did all last year. Right. And that he shared that with me, and he literally shared it with me. And, Paul gets it. Paul is a veteran. He's been successful. I'm talking to another agent, and it's the narrative. The very first thing they say is, hey, listen, and this happened twice yesterday. Now, both of these are not clients of ours, but it was two agents that it was like a red flag. And they were talking about their leads and their leads being bad leads. And that's the narrative. And they made a statement. They said, this is what they said. And I've heard it a million times. I've seen Jay comment on it. It's really important to point this out to people. But they said specifically, they said something like, all of my leads are terrible. They say they didn't register. They say this, they say that. And I said, well, how many leads have you generated? And I was shocked by how few leads they had generated and how quickly they came to the conclusion. If you want to be good at marketing, let's get all on the same page. I mean, if you go want to run and you come back and say, man, y'all ran, y'all like to run far. Well, far is, an opinion, right? Like if I ran 8 miles on Monday and go for a 4-mile run, and you normally run 3 miles and you think 4 miles, 5 miles is far, that's different than David Goggins. Now, it doesn't mean that, one's far or one's not far. It has really nothing to do with it. The real question is what are your goals, right? Like if your goal is to train for a marathon, then there's a formula to that. And if your goal is to generate clients online, there's a formula to that. And that formula starts with building permission-based marketing, period. Mm-hmm. So in drilling an oil well, what you're doing is you're going to the land where there's all of these people, and those people, they live on social media now. They live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it. And you have to decide where you're going to start, right? And the very act of saying, I'm going to drill here, which was the point you made, is the first step in the process of drilling an oil well. Once you've nailed that, you have to nail a compelling message. Now, if for some reason you have the mindset, and here was what I was going to interrupt in the very beginning. You kind of floated a question past me that you were going to come back to. So you made me start thinking as you were talking. And the first place that I went to was in my mind was that, the problem that most people have is they're trying to make money. So that's why they don't shoot the videos. They don't have a real success metric. They don't realize it's going to be work. And when those leads are bad, they're not looking at that as feedback. So like in an oil well machine, if I generate a lead and that person says, hey, listen, I want to debate my tax appraisal, and let's just hypothetically say I ran the ad of home evaluation, then I could change that ad to say thinking of selling. I've said that 100 times, and I say it on every episode because that's what I did, right? My ISAs gave me feedback that the people were saying this, that, and the other. And when we tweaked the ad, we got further to the oil, right? Which was further to the oil. But here's the thing. Because we had a comprehensive strategy, our success metric was really based upon numbers. If you know for every 100 leads, listen, if you're out there trying to find the 3% of the market that's going to do something tomorrow, and you talk to 11 people and none of them want to buy a house tomorrow, and you think the leads suck, God bless you. It's just, that's not true. It's just not true. I told this individual, this woman, I said, if you spent $500 on ads and you let me call them all, we're going to get business. That's going to happen. I see people doing it on a $10 a day budget. The real question is tell me, based upon the statement you made, how many leads did you generate? How many did you speak to? Right. And so when you're drilling oil and you're trying to nail it, which is everything that you said, I mean, obviously the sexy part right now is social media. Okay. I mean, we wrote Digital President in 2016. We did it as a result of this same conversation. It was very, we were enlightened in 2016 that we needed more content because we had built and amassed this huge audience. People who've read the book have told me it's been you can go to michaelreesebook.com. and get a copy. The great thing is we put a companion course. So there's literally a video with every single chapter that kind of walks you through, if you're looking to get clients online, kind of walks you through the principles. And that's the point, is that when people don't understand the principles, when they don't understand the principles of, well, I don't know, I'm going to just go get listings. Well, you can go get listings, but let me just challenge you here. If are you going to use Google or are you going to use Facebook? Because if a listing lead costs XYZ, right? And a listing lead is cheaper, knowing the math on those leads and the assumptions around them are extremely important, right? If the goal is to build your list, for me, my metric is different. My metric is, it would be basically the earnings per subscriber. Anybody that comes on your list is no different than that somebody that, a lead that we define as in real estate woods is no different than any other lead, right? It's information that now I control as far as a traffic source, and I can communicate to you, whether that's by phone, by email. That's traffic. And now we've even taken it a step further with 2.0 and said, or it's a pixel, because I can, again, communicate to you through video by putting a video in your newsfeed because you visited a website. Regardless, I have to get that audience. So I'm going to this entire world and I have to get that audience. You have to be able to narrow that down. If you pick that, if you're an agent that has 200 past clients, 500 past clients, 1,000 past clients, well, and you have no plan for the holidays, well, that might be an easy place to start, drilling. Because the real question is that if you received 20 referrals last year, well, 20 is only good depending on how many past clients you have. If you only have 20 past clients, that's hell of good. If you have 2,000 past clients, that's not good. We call that your past client referral efficiency ratio. And again, your communication to them, the marketing that you do, staying top of mind, retargeting those people, or sending out testimonials, telling stories, communicating with them after the transaction. Your past client database is appreciating or depreciating every day. And so you might start there. And I can tell you that I was challenged in 2009 by the wizard. We called him the wizard, to call past clients. And by the time I hit the 19th referral, I was sick that I had not done that I had not I had for years called expireds through many hours of called sessions. I had never sat down and called past clients, right? And so the question becomes, when you're trying to generate leads, sometimes you can do an oil well right there in your database. You can, if the ground's softer, if there's oil already there and you don't have a system for, you got a bunch of unconverted buyer leads and you don't communicate to those buyer leads in a way with a campaign and a funnel and an offer that allows you to know that, hey, someone who looked for a house, 9 months ago and still hasn't bought one might be still looking for a house and be closer to making that decision. So again, it's segmenting and using what you opened up with, which is, where are you going to start? Where are you going to drill? And then once you drill, the main thing I'm trying to communicate here is, if you throw your hands up and say that this doesn't work, here's what I want to say. A funnel or any marketing that works the first time is a miracle. It's the iteration of my expired process. It's the iteration of my home evaluation ad. It's the iteration of the follow-up sequence of the sales process that Woods was talking about, that content that we deliver. It's coming back to the table and looking at all of that as feedback. They say feedback is like gold. And so if you're getting people telling you something in the process, right now for what me and Woods do, I asked Woods this probably 3 times in the last 30 days. And I said, in a certain way, what's working? And he said, running ads and building the list and sending emails out of the YouTube. That's like but guys, listen, that's what we wrote the digital president about, right? Because, and the truth is that when every person that I speak to, every single person, including you, this is proof because you're probably watching or listening to this. And this is not probably for 99% of you is not your first introduction to me or to Woods. Then this concept you're seeing, you're experiencing it. And so, yes, the content strategy is great. The question is that, and this is the question, is when is making YouTube videos the tip of spear, right? Because when is YouTube video, and I'll tell you when it is. YouTube videos are the tip of spear when you don't have to make money tomorrow. I don't care who you are. I said it. I told Woods, I said, I was watching a video the other day online, and a guy that's super sharp, extremely successful, had mentioned the methodology of holding your breath. Now, he was referring holding his breath to different than I. I had referred to holding your breath as how long you can go without needing money, right? Right? Like if I save money and I have core capital, but his explanation was simply a little different, but it was the same. It was still the same. It was still at core principle, not being forced into making a bad decision or being on this short-term strategy because of your current financial situation. And so for a lot of you guys, hey, you're going to need now business. But then if that's the case, then the question is how do you get out of that situation? And the way that you do that is you want to know the magic answer, Woods, how you get out of that situation?
Yep. Let's hear it.
The magic answer is all your unconverted leads are really your blessing. Mm-hmm. All your unconverted leads are the people that are going to get you out of the situation of needing to close the deal today. So if you're looking for something and you need to close a deal today, but you're neglecting putting a system or a process in place, then you're working on the current future, but you're on the current reality, but not the future. The term of getting the oil out of the ground. The oil out of the ground is just a part of the process. You still have to sell the oil. Some people put that oil, Woods, into containers and store it. You know why? Because the price of oil is down. We actually got to a point when oil was so low that we were running out of places to store it. But when the market came back, which we hit some critical points with oil over the last 5 years where oil has exceeded, T. Boone Pickens, one of my idols growing up, it was a huge donor to the OSU program. One of the guys who said he was in his 90s, he would always say, I remember when he said, we're going to see $100 a barrel of oil again. And at that time, people were leasing ships, filling containers and storing them on ships. And it was worth it. It was worth the financial investment because they knew that oil had value. It just wasn't valuable that day. And so the concept of, drilling that oil and then going back to the point that you made, Woods, is that when you're drilling oil, and you're hitting that oil well, it's exactly what you said. You have to define that client journey, right? It's not the client journey is not about, so many people. One of my mentors, and I'm going to say his name, Dan Kennedy, just an amazing man when it comes to marketing. One of the godfathers, who has many, many disciples now that are huge influencers in the marketing space, but they all got their start with Dan Kennedy. Russell Brunson, Frank Kern. I'm not going to say any other names, but a lot of people. Dan Kennedy said that your best clients are always waiting around. And what that means is that they're on your list, right? And so if you have a database and you're looking for places to drill, one of the things that we do is we evaluate all of the opportunities. Surely, Woods, when someone moves to a brand new market, right, they don't have a database.
Right. That's step number one, start building it.
So building that database is important. But if you talk to somebody who has a huge database, who has here's the key word, they have no process, right? They have no process. One of the things that me and Woods are going to do the minute we hang up this phone or this podcast, the minute we get done with this is we're working on a process. And it's a process of optimizing something that we're currently doing. In everything that you do, and this goes back to Vern Harnish, Mastering the Rockefeller Habits, he says every core business should have 9 processes that are documented that you could hand to me. If I said, hey, tell me your lead follow-up process. Tell me your database communication. What is that process? Your past client, what is that process? The nurturing of your database. What is the process? What is the process for training your agents? What does that process look like? Is it you have training every week, every quarter? Is it self-paced? Is it on demand? Do you pay for them to go get certain certifications? Is everyone mandated to get their CNE, their certified negotiated expert designation within 90 days? We had a process for bringing people on and getting them trained. We had a process for converting the leads. We had a process for drilling an oil well, right? And at the end of the day, so many agents look at lead generation as an event. It's like, okay, it's almost like they spin the wheel and the ball zzz, like whatever that game is called. I think it's called roulette. And they're like, okay. Let me put the money down. I will go black. I'm black. Come on, black. Oh man, I lost. That's unfortunately not how it works. If you go in and you have a strategy and you say, listen, my goal in this is what I would claim that your goal should be subscribers to your email list. And whether you want to call that leads or not, when you can shift that mind to building a list of subscribers and then go back and do what it is that Woods was referring to as the digital president strategy, we call that a freedom funnel. Because a freedom funnel actually creates freedom. It doesn't keep you in captivity. You know, if your marketing and sales strategy is based upon finding someone that wants to buy a home today, I am here to tell you, you are always going to live with uncertainty, which is a natural human need. And you're going to find yourself on the roller coaster emotionally of happiness and unhappy because you're going to be certain and uncertain. And the only way that you bridge that gap is to start changing your mindset of being preeminent, where you look at these people as subscribers, no different than yourself. You know, my wife has this television show that she loves. And when they stopped producing it, she was sad a little bit. She was like, man, I really love this. I would tell you what it's called, but it's kind of embarrassing. But, it was a show that we watched. She called me up one day and said, hey, did you know they re-released the show? They're producing content again for this show. We're fans. If they produce it for 20 years, we'll watch it, right? The people that come onto your email list, a subset of them are going to become fans. And if you produce valuable content that is not tied to trying to sell them a home, but is trying to share solutions to problems and educate and entertain, if you change that mindset, like Woods was talking about, then you're going to be able to yield the best return for the oil that you drill. And so, you know, and here's the last concept, and I hear you want to chime in, so I'm going to let you chime in because I had that feeling and I know how it felt. So I know you're probably chewing your arm off. I probably forget what I was going to say, but go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead and finish up your thought on kind of the last concept of, you know, if you were to kind of put a bow on all this, you know, what would you say is kind of
I wouldn't put a bow on it. I wouldn't put a bow on it. I would say it over and over and over and over because there is no end. If you're in a situation where you're not getting deals consistently, then you're not leveraging social media, marketing funnels, and content creation. And I would never. I'm punctuating a point here is that I wouldn't put a bow on that. In fact, you could hang out with me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see me in Dallas, Houston, and I'm going to say it over and over and over and over. And the only difference is you're either going to do something about it or not. And right now, if your problem is that you don't have any leads, then you got to drill the well. If you want the whole enchilada, then you got to look at your client journey, and you got to change the metric from, you know, you have to change the metric from getting someone to buy a house or sell a house today to getting subscribers who look to you as an expert. And that's answering your question. I forgot where I was going, but you know, the question that you asked specifically of how I put a bow on it, I wouldn't. I would be what they say in Mastering Rockefeller Habits. I would have a very few rules and I would repeat myself a lot. They say that's how you know, when building a company, that's what you do. When you're a coach, a trainer, you don't have to have it be complex. There's nothing in the world that says it can be actually simple. In fact, I think there's brilliance in simplicity. In simplicity, the question is, ask yourself, how many people came on your email list this week? How many people subscribed? Well, how many different ways do you have people to subscribe, right? And if right now your way for people to subscribe is that you're paying Zillow XYZ because you think that getting 40 leads of people that have a higher probability of doing business today, I will beat you all day long when my lead cost is, a third or a fourth of that, because I'm going to build a way bigger audience that's going to leverage the thing Zillow's doing. Because if you think everybody that requests a premier agent is considered a lead, it's not. There's a lot of people that go to Zillow and get content being specifically homes, new homes, price reductions. And then when that person's ready to reach out, they hand it over to the agent. Very simple concept. You get the opt-in, then you communicate with them. If you go register on Zillow, you're going to get emails from Zillow. You're not going to get emails from Michael Reese. So you're going to build the Zillow brand. And what agents do, because they rather have the meal served to them, but bitch about, the cost of the steak, they don't want to go out there and feed the cows and be able to feed their whole family forever. They just want to, they want a filet mignon, medium rare Pittsburgh, and they want it. And what they think is takes too long, they want it in 15 minutes, not 21 minutes. And I think that's the problem is that they want people like, and I've said it my whole life, they want people just to drop it in their mouth and feed them like a lot of agents that struggle do. And what I'm here to say is that that's not the way it works. If you want to become great at real estate, if you're going to be in this for the long haul, then you have to get a strategy. What kind of strategy? A strategy for marketing and sales. And you have to be able to turn strangers into clients, or you're going to always be wondering where your next deal is going to come from. And the best way to do that is to build a database and switch your mindset. And here's the thing, you can agree or disagree. I'm sure a lot of you agree because a lot of people who watch this have watched many of my other videos before. And so the question is gut check yourself. We won't edit that, by the way. Ask yourself, do you know how many people come onto your list every month? Is that up this year over last year? And what percentage of those people that come onto your list, what is the average cost per subscriber? Is your cost up per subscriber? Is it up or down? Are there easier and better ways to increase your cost per subscriber? And what is your conversion mechanism? Are the offers that you make to your subscribers in order to sift and sort which one's motivation and timing has changed? It's really that simple. And if you're wanting all that to be done and served to you on a silver platter on Tuesday, the week that you closed your last deal because you got nothing in the pipeline and the leads suck, then I would say that it's not that the leads suck and it's not even you. It's that you have no awareness around what it really takes to do marketing and sales, because what you've done in the past is just had it done for you through buying other people's services and not understanding the concepts that govern success. So you have no other way but to communicate. Like my kids have no idea. My son's name is Crew. When my other son says, "Dad, you're speeding," and I say, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'll slow down. I'm gonna put it on cruise control." And he says, "Daddy, Crew can't control the car from back here." I mean, that's how it sounds when an agent says the leads suck. I'm like, the leads don't suck. I'm not saying Crew like, okay, never mind. You don't understand. You don't understand how this machine works. You think you do, but you don't.
Well, Michael, man, I really enjoyed this conversation today, and I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation that we had. A lot of what we talk about on this podcast, it comes from questions that come from our community as we're working with agents, helping them build their businesses. So if you like this, obviously subscribe, and then also leave us a comment down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously leave us a comment there. And if you're watching this on another platform, man, go check us out on YouTube. Leave us a comment, because we'll take your questions and we will answer those questions on this podcast. Our goal is to add as much value to the community of real estate professionals throughout the world, really. I used to say North America, but now we're actually, our organization is global now. And so again, we hope that this added a lot of value to you guys today. Michael, man, I appreciate you as always. Great conversation. And man, I look forward to the next one.